Good morning and welcome into Action News Now. I'm Kelly Som. Glad you're with us. You are never more than 10 minutes away from your local weather. Let's check in with Patrick Wright, breaking down today's fire danger.
Yeah, today we do have some breezes, but most of it out in the foothills. At the Jarboe Gap Station, we are registering up to about a 37-mile-per-hour wind gust with sustained winds of about 23 miles per hour coming out of the northeast. That's kind of just being squeezed through a lot of our canyons this morning, but in the valley, just 10 miles per hour right around Corning, but pretty calm in most places. The fire danger outlook over the course of the day, not looking too bad. It's going to be very calm and very quaint, even with the hot temperatures expected going forward. So what can we see when it comes to our fire danger? Temperatures 90 to 98 degrees. So it will be hot, but the humidity is still low, 12 to 32%, or at least for some places throughout the region. But the winds, they're not going to be doing very much. So we're keeping our fire danger at the moderate level, but this will not last forever. As we head into the latter half of the weekend, we could see some stronger north winds develop. I'll break that down in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Patrick. Several improvements are coming to the Reading Fire Department, and we're told they're long overdue. The city celebrated 4 new engines at a push-in ceremony on Tuesday, but that's just a small portion of what's to come. Action News Now reporter Courtney Kreider is live in Reading with more on where we can expect a new fire station to be built in East Reading. Courtney?
Kelly, this is the first we're hearing about the location that Reading Fire desires. And so this is where they're hoping to do it, is off of Shasta View Drive and Highway 44. So this is going to increase response times in East Reading. Right now, they have about a 90% rate of responding in around 6 minutes. So that's the goal. They aren't always able to get to that, especially when they're going this far. And so that engine, or at least that station, that's hoping to be built by 2025. So with that comes new firefighters. We're talking about 12 positions plus a battalion chief, but we could see those new hires possibly as early as next spring, when we're also getting another fire engine. And I did talk to Chief Van Lanningham, got a one-on-one with him yesterday to talk about the location and also the improvements. He said the city council has been very supportive in pushing public safety, and so they are expecting to see not only the new station but other renovations as well.
Many of our firehouses are like 100 years old, 90 years old, just really run down and small. And so we're hoping to do some facility upgrades over the next few years and really improve the space where our firefighters spend a third of their life protecting our community.
They also have a lot of new equipment lately. They have added new computers in the engines, new radio systems, and then also vehicle locators on all of the engines. All of that helping the Reading Fire Department better equip firefighters with those safety elements, and then also adding that extra safety equipment for the city of Reading and a better response for the community. So we're looking forward to those improvements. We'll keep you updated as that construction begins. In Reading, Courtney Kreider, Action News Now, coverage you can count on.
Thanks, Courtney, for the update. Reading Fire tells us they average roughly 21,000 calls a year. They're fully staffed with 3 firefighters per engine, which is the level of staffing they plan to maintain moving forward. Are you worried about the massive wildfires that threaten our area every year? A retired Forest Service forester from Chico thinks he may hold the solution to preventing catastrophic wildfires and reversing climate change. And tonight he'll hold a public meeting in Chico to lay out his plan. Bill Smith has worked 33 years as a professional forester on the Plumas National Forest. He alone planted about 1 million trees that he says have all been burned in the Dixie Fire and the Bear Fire. He believes the Forest Service has been lacking for decades in managing national forests and reducing fire fuels. He's put his years of expertise to come up with a 100-year plan for shaded fuel breaks. He said Congress needs to change environmental laws that have prevented logging projects and trees from being harvested. He said we need to apply the science. First, starve the wildfires by harvesting their fuel. Then cut down sections of trees, replant seedlings, and clear the forest floor of brush. This will manage fuels and allow trees to continue cleaning the air by removing carbon dioxide, thus reversing climate change.
The Forest Service has not had a comprehensive forest-wide program or plan to deal with excess fuel in the forest. The forest grows at 0.6% per year. So since 1990s, we've grown about 25% more fuel, but we pretty much stopped harvesting that fuel. So it's building up. And that's why when we get a drought or high winds and lightning, we can have catastrophic fires. And the only part of that we can control is the fuel.
What do you think of using prescribed burns to manage wildfires?
Well, part of my plan of using shaded fuel breaks will also clean the air. And so I'm really not a fan of broadcast burning, prescribed burning, because it dirties the air. So my plan, there won't be big broadcast burns, and so my plan will actually improve air quality and, in my opinion, reverse climate change.
Bill Smith invites anyone interested in stopping wildfires and all the smoke in the valley to come listen to him present his plan tonight and sign his petition. He wants to get the attention of Congress to change environmental laws to allow more harvesting of trees in the forest. Come hear Bill Smith's wildfire prevention plan. He's used his own money to rent out the Chico Elks Lodge tonight from 7 to 9 p.m. and invites you and community leaders to listen and join his call for the Forest Service and Congress to change the way they approach forest management. So, what is the Forest Service doing? Well, this year they acknowledged they need to do more forest management and revealed a 10-year strategy for confronting what they call the wildfire crisis. The plan calls for significant increases in treating national forests. That includes prescribed burns, thinning, and pruning. Over 10 years, they aim to treat an additional 20 million acres of the highest fire risk areas. They say they have additional money to pay for it through the bipartisan infrastructure bill.
We're ready to begin the work in a way that meets the urgency of the moment. By working with key partners and stakeholders, we will increase the pace and scale of forest health treatments across shared landscapes. The strategy emphasizes a dramatic increase in the scope and scale of forest health treatments and restore the natural role of low-intensity fires.
So I asked the Forest Service how they plan to get around the appeals and lawsuits by environmental groups that have held up forest thinning projects in the past. They did not directly answer that question, instead sending me this statement saying they will work with their partners to build coalition support for treatments across land ownerships. To read more about both of these plans, read the story I posted this morning. You'll find it at actionnewsnow.com. It was a split verdict read moments apart in a courtroom yesterday in the trial of the murder of former Cal Poly student Kristen Smart. Paul Flores was found guilty of killing the college student decades ago. His father was found not guilty of being an accessory. Leslie Marin reports on the aftermath of that verdict read aloud in Salinas.
Every day, not a single day goes by that you aren't missed, remembered, loved, and celebrated.
After 26 years standing next to a photo of their daughter, Kristen Smart's parents describe what today's verdict meant to them.
Without Kristen, there is no joy or happiness in this verdict.
On Tuesday, Paul Flores, the man accused of killing Smart back in 1996, while both were students at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, was found guilty of first-degree murder. His father, Ruben Flores, who was charged as an accessory to the crime, was found not guilty. He spoke outside the courthouse immediately following the verdict.
I was just hoping, it was not guilty, but it's just tough. But like I said before, I feel sorry for them because they didn't get no answers.
With today's split verdicts, we learned that our quest for justice for Kristen will continue.
But according to defense attorney Steve Meister, a split verdict may help the Smart family in the future.
If this were just a biased jury that behaved improperly and just wanted to convict for the sake of resolving this and giving the family some peace, then they would have convicted both of these guys. But as it happens, they didn't. So I think that in terms of the son's appeal, the father's acquittal is not going to help him.
The mystery surrounding Smart's death has spanned from the Central Coast to San Pedro, where Paul Flores was living. The last time neighbors saw him was in handcuffs when he was arrested more than a year ago.
He wasn't confrontational in any way, shape, or form. He was more of a recluse. He didn't want to make any problems with anybody, but now we know why.
I wasn't really scared, so, I mean, it just sucks that this happened a long time ago and they're barely getting justice.
And despite countless searches and warrants at both Paul and his father's home, Kristen's body is still missing. The San Luis Obispo sheriff reassuring the Smart family investigators won't give up.
We don't take a breath. We do not put this aside. We continue to pursue this until we bring Kristen home.
Paul Flores will be sentenced in December. It is 6:42. You're never more than 10 minutes away from your local weather update on Action News Now. Let's check in with Patrick in the Storm Tracker Center, looking ahead at how fast temperatures are going to be climbing today. Patrick?
It'll be another hot one, so if you don't like the summer, you're just going to have to get through today because we do have some cooling settling in for the rest of this week and even into the weekend. Looking outside right now, this is from the Deer Creek Highway camera. We're starting to see some light roll in, but it's not much. This is looking out towards the Chico area, so some of the light's starting to disappear. But yeah, we are still seeing darkness across most of our region. Now today, temperatures will be topping off in the low to mid 90s across the valley, upper 70s to mid 80s in the mountains, so it will feel a lot like summer. You want to start your day off with some added layers so you can move them or take them off later on with some of this heat this afternoon and evening. We are seeing some wind gusts, though, across some of our foothill regions. That'll begin to die down as we head throughout the morning. Some gusts, though, coming out of the north up to about 12 to 15 miles per hour in parts of the western side of the valley, but that'll also die down towards the afternoon hours, and it's looking pretty tranquil this evening other than some of the heat to start the early evening hours, but going into tomorrow morning, not too much going on. The futurecast, here's what we have. The ridge of high pressure that's been giving us this heat today and the last day yesterday, that will start to break down a little bit, and we'll start to see things cooling off on Thursday and into Friday, but we will start to see things really change heading into this weekend. An area of low pressure digs to the south, and this will bring a chance for some showers, especially to our mountains. And then we see things shift a little bit on Sunday, and this begins the possibility for a northerly wind event to start up. This may increase our fire danger. That's something we'll have to keep an eye on going forward, but that'll move on out pretty quickly, and cooler weather will stick with us for at least the beginning of next week with another shot of possible rain by the middle of next week. But here's what the futurecast looks like with this weekend's rain chances. A few clouds coming in tomorrow and Friday, but Saturday, that's when we start to see the bulk of the system roll on through, but it's not very organized, so it's not going to really bring too much to the valley, and whatever does fall in the mountains, maybe up to about 1/10 of an inch with some snow in the higher elevations. So it's not looking too organized, as I mentioned, but it's also quick moving, so it'll just move on out pretty quickly. Sunday looking rather clear. Now the gardening forecast, this is what we have. I don't think we're going to see a lot of rain, so we won't see the gardens being watered by Mother Nature the next few days and even into the weekend, so you probably need to water on the days that you can, given that there are still some of those drought restrictions out there. But the next 7 days, here's what we have. Upper 80s by tomorrow, so the cooling trend begins. Lower 80s by Friday, and the 70s make a return for a good chunk of our region for several days in a row, so it finally starts to feel like fall as we head into the last couple of weeks of October.
Thanks, Patrick. 6:45 right now. Up next, we'll have those opening numbers from Wall Street and how inflation is affecting consumer shopping habits and changing reward and loyalty programs. And more events to look forward to this week as the community paints the town of Reading pink for breast cancer awareness. You're watching Action News Now. 6:48, and you're looking live at the opening numbers on Wall Street. The Dow down 45 points, NASDAQ down about 87. Netflix shares rallied up 11% after the streaming giant posted earnings and revenue that beat estimates, as well as strong subscriber growth for the third quarter. United Airlines climbed 4.6% after it also beat estimates on the top and bottom lines. Happening tomorrow, the Sundial Bridge in Reading will fully light up in pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Take a look at this live view of the Sundial Bridge this morning. Also tomorrow is the resource fair that will be held right there at the bridge. The community continues spreading awareness about the importance of early detection and cancer screening.
I think pink because I read mammograms and I find cancers every day on them. And I do the biopsies, and I believe in them. I had my first mammogram at age 35. And also my mom had breast cancer, and so I went through the experience with her. So nobody is immune, and you have to take care of yourself because nobody else will.
The resource fair starts at 5 p.m. tomorrow at the Sundial Bridge. Yesterday, Shasta County supervisors voted unanimously to extend drought relief from the state. Last May, supervisors adopted a proclamation establishing the Shasta County grant-funded Emergency Drought Relief Program to help pay for upgrades to private water supply systems. However, the county says local drought impacts continue, and this will help pay for the needed help. They also voted to authorize the Public Works Director to pursue a DWR grant for as much as $2.8 million for the Cottonwood Sewer Wastewater Treatment Plant. Happening today, the Chico Chamber hosts a City Council candidate forum virtually on Zoom. The candidates will answer 4 questions in this moderated forum. It runs from 5:30 to 7 p.m. We have a link for you to register in advance at actionnewsnow.com under News Links. 6:50 right now. You're never more than 10 minutes away from your local weather. Let's check in with Patrick with the school day forecast. Patrick?
It is going to be starting off a little cool this morning, so if that fashionista inside of you is really looking forward to it, hey, you could do some layering over the course of the day. Temperatures starting off right now at 51 degrees out towards Reading, 54 in Chico, but along the I-5 corridor in Tehama and Glenn County, sitting at around the low 60s, so not too bad. But if you're out in Alturas, it is a balmy 28 degrees as I guess fall is in full swing. We do have some winds out there, so hold on to your hats, especially if you are out in some of the foothill areas. 9 to 10 miles per hour, though, heading throughout the valley, though, so it's not too bad. Just a nice breeze to do the Instagram look for your hair if you want to picture this morning. But temperatures this morning, mid-50s as you walk out the door for most places. Cool start, but it will be hot by this afternoon and evening. Lower 90s, if not mid-90 for some places, so it will be sizzling this afternoon. Feeling like summer, so if you like the summer, it will be around for another day, but there is a cool down on the way, and we'll go over some of that in just a few minutes.
With inflation running hot, many companies are making big changes to reward programs for everything from your morning coffee to your hotel stays. Tom Costello reports on how this will change your buying habits.
For Americans earning reward points for every gallon of gas, rental car, airline ticket, and cup of coffee, loyalty may not be worth what it once was, as companies rewrite their reward rules, often requiring more purchases, not fewer.
I'm very disappointed in Dunkin'.
Dunkin' Donuts has faced a social media backlash after raising the cost of earning a free cup of coffee from $40 to $50 and doing away with free birthday drinks. There is drama in the Dunkin' world right now, tweeted one customer. I no longer run on Dunkin'. But Dunkin' says its revamped program gives customers more options and a wider variety of food and beverages. Chipotle is also requiring more purchases to earn a free burrito. P.F. Chang's now offers extra reward points for a monthly fee, as inflation drives up restaurant costs, forcing many to trim expenses.
We've seen it from Chipotle, we've seen it from Dunkin', we probably will see it from many others before we're all said and done.
For many customers, the points make the difference.
Yeah, big difference. They save a lot of people a lot of money.
Meanwhile, you can now earn a mile on Delta Airlines for each dollar you spend at Starbucks, just as Delta will require passengers to spend more on tickets to earn top-tier status and free upgrades. The advice, if you've been gathering points:
you don't want to hoard these just for hoarding's sake. You want to earn and burn strategically.
Use them or lose them. Tom Costello, NBC News, Washington.
Forbes is reporting September's consumer price index rose to 8.2%, higher than what experts previously predicted. Food prices, housing, and medical care saw the biggest price increases. 6:53 right now as we check your morning drive. You're looking live at Highway 99 at Garner Lane on the north side of Chico. Traffic moving smoothly. We're keeping an eye on that head-on crash between a car and a motorcycle that happened in Glenn County. That was on Highway 99W west of County Road 30. It happened just before 5 a.m. this morning. The CHP website now reporting major injuries in that crash. We'll keep you up to date with the latest on that online and on air throughout the day. And we'll be back next with today's top stories. Welcome back. Here are today's top stories. Reading Fire Department will soon gain a dozen new firefighters and a fifth engine and a new fire station in East Reading. The new firefighters are going to come with the new station, Station 9, which could be built by 2025. That new station will be at Shasta View Drive and Highway 44. The 12 new hires are a possibility as early as next spring, with another engine in production right now.
We can stop these fires if we get back to doing some harvesting.
He planted nearly 1 million trees on the Plumas National Forest. Now Bill Smith of Chico says cutting down trees and replanting is the best way to stop mega fires. Happening tonight, he is holding a public meeting in Chico, laying out a plan he says will prevent catastrophic wildfires and reverse climate change. He says Congress needs to change environmental laws that have prevented logging projects and trees from being harvested. He says starve the wildfires by harvesting their fuel and cut down sections of trees, replant seedlings, and clear the forest floor of brush. Bill Smith invites you and community leaders to listen and join his call for the Forest Service and Congress to change the way they approach forest management. You can hear his wildfire prevention plan tonight at the Elks Lodge from 7 to 9 p.m. Doctors who spread lies about the coronavirus could be punished for unprofessional conduct under a new California law signed by Governor Newsom. He signed it into law on September 30th. It declares a physician or surgeon committing professional misconduct by spreading lies about COVID, misinformation or disinformation, risks or prevention and treatment of the virus, and vaccines could face discipline by the state medical board or potentially lose their license to practice in California. You are never more than 10 minutes away from your local weather on Action News Now. Let's check in with Patrick with a quick final look at the forecast. Patrick?
Yeah, today is shaping up to be another hot day, although looking beautiful this morning as some of the cameras are starting to turn on their daytime mode and actually see some color in the sky as the sun begins to rise this morning. Now for your day planner, this is what we have. Temperatures this morning getting to the mid-60s by 9 a.m. That will be hot as we head into this evening, afternoon, and evening. Temperatures in the mid to upper 90s for a good chunk of the valley. So drink plenty of water and wear some layers that you can remove later on. As I mentioned, across the valley, low to mid 90s for highs today, 97 in Redding, 91 in Chico. Out towards the mountains, though, upper 70s to mid 80s. So not too bad if you're